In the heart of a crowded, sun-scorched city, life moved with brutal indifference. Amid the noise of honking cars, shouting hawkers, and the weight of daily survival, Anna carried her unborn child like a sacred promise. She lived in a cramped one-room house in the slums of Kibera. Walls made of rusted iron sheets, the floor nothing but bare earth. But she held hope, a mother's hope. Anna was 26, strong but tired. The pregnancy had not been easy. Food was scarce. Water had to be fetched from far. Nights were long and restless. Still, she pressed on, counting the days until she would hold her daughter, her first child, in her arms. Wilson, her husband, had been her only source of comfort. But 2 days ago, he'd left for work at a construction site miles away, promising to return with money for her hospital admission. He hadn't come back. That morning, the pain started. At first, a dull ache in her lower back, then sharper stabs that made her double over. By midday, she was on the floor, clutching her belly as the contractions grew relentless. The neighbors came running. "She needs to go to the hospital," someone said urgently. A young boda rider was flagged down. He didn't ask for payment. He just told her to hold on tight. The ride was bumpy and chaotic. Each pothole sent shockwaves of pain through Anna's body. She clutched the back of the bike with one hand, her stomach with the other, biting down a scream as sweat dripped from her face. She was terrified, not just of the pain, but of what would happen if she didn't make it in time. They finally arrived at the hospital, a tall, white-walled healthcare facility known for its quick services and strict policies. The gates opened for them, and a nurse rushed out, took one look at Anna, and asked, "How far along is she?" "She's in labor," the rider shouted. But before they could wheel her inside, a voice called out sharply, "Wait, admission fee?" The matron approached slowly, clipboard in hand, lips thin with suspicion. "Does she have the required 500 shillings? Anna tried to speak, her voice hoarse. "My husband is coming. Please, help me." The matron shook her head. "We can't admit patients without payment. It's policy. We've had too many cases of people abandoning bills." The nurse hesitated, looked down at Anna, then back at the matron and stepped away. "No, please," Anna begged, her voice breaking. "My baby is coming." She collapsed at the steps of the hospital. Her water broke. A small crowd began to form, some people drawn by curiosity, others frozen in disbelief. Anna screamed in agony. Blood pooled beneath her. Still, the hospital doors remained shut. A middle-aged woman in the crowd pushed forward, removed her lasso, and knelt beside Anna. "Push, Mama. I've helped before," she said softly. "Don't give up." Minutes stretched into eternity. Anna's cries echoed across the compound. Her hands dug into the concrete as her body convulsed. And then, a final push, a gasp and silence. The baby was out, but there was no cry, only stillness. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A teenage girl screamed, "She's not breathing." Panic erupted. The woman tried to clear the baby's nose. Nothing. Then, finally, after what felt like forever, a weak, raspy cry pierced the air. Faint but real. Suddenly, the hospital doors flung open. A young doctor, alerted by the chaos, rushed to the scene. "What happened? Why wasn't she brought in?" he shouted. "She didn't have money," the nurse muttered, eyes downcast. The doctor's face turned red with anger. "She's a human being in labor. You left her out here to die." He picked up the baby himself, yelled for a stretcher, and ordered the nurses to assist Anna. Finally, after it nearly cost her and her daughter their lives, the gates opened. Inside, the atmosphere was different. Machines beeped. Nurses moved with urgency. Anna was drifting in and out of consciousness. Her body was exhausted, her spirit shaken. The baby was placed in an incubator. Oxygen tubes were inserted. Fluids were given. Her tiny chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. Later that night, Anna woke up in a white room, a faint hum in her ears. The young doctor stood beside her, expression soft. Your daughter is alive, he said gently. She's a fighter, just like her mother. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not just from relief but from the pain of what could have been. She had given birth like a stray animal, outside, exposed, humiliated, not because she wasn't deserving, but because she didn't have money. The story didn't end there. The next morning, a video taken by a bystander went viral. Social media exploded with rage. Hashtags began to trend. Hashtag justice for Anna. Hashtag healthcare is a right. Journalists picked up the story. TV crews showed up at the hospital gates. One brave nurse came forward anonymously. It wasn't the first time we turned a woman away, she said. But this time, it almost killed both of them. The health ministry launched an investigation. The matron was suspended. And Anna, a poor woman from the slums who simply wanted to give birth, became a symbol of the injustice buried deep in the healthcare system. Her daughter survived, but with complications from oxygen deprivation. They named her Neema, meaning grace, because it was only by grace that she lived. And every time Anna looked into her daughter's eyes, she remembered that life should never come with a price tag. Kindly subscribe, like, comment, and share.